Do you have an athlete that's particularly hard on herself or can't take constructive criticism from a coach? Hi, I'm Dr. Patrick Cohn. In this video, I'm going to help a sports parent with his daughter who tends to be very self-critical and not like feedback from her coach. You're watching the Sports Psychology Podcast. Here's the question I received from Evan. Evan said, my daughter is a 14-year-old soccer player with a lot of natural ability, but I think that she struggles with her mental game, particularly being too hard on herself, getting down on herself after mistakes, and responding to the coach's feedback in a negative way. My question is there anything that I can do to help her with being so hard on herself or her being criticized by coaches? I feel she's hardwired this way because her sister is not this way at all. Evan, thanks for your question. So I understand your two daughters are completely dissimilar in that respect. One maybe goes with the flow and the other one tends to worry about some of that criticism. But I'm here to tell you she's probably not hardwired that way. It's probably a learned trait. If there's a perfectionist in the family, or if she's had perfectionist coaches, for example, or teachers as well, these are learned behaviors by athletes. They tend to be more self-critical and be more judgmental of their performance. So I just wanted to throw that out there. If your athlete tends to criticize herself, beat herself up, for example, that means that she has very high expectations for her performance or thinks others have high expectations for her performance. If she's been labeled with a lot of ability, a lot of skill, a lot of potential, and she feels like she's not playing up to that potential, then certainly she might get upset or unravel or even criticize herself for not playing perfectly out there. So it sounds like you have somewhat of a perfectionist, and perfectionists have very high expectations, number one. They tend to be very self-critical and judgmental of their performance. They get easily frustrated with their performance as well. They worry too much about what others think, and they can't take that constructive feedback from coaches as well because they think coach is attacking them personally in some way. So this is a very common characteristic or traits that we see with perfectionist athletes. All right, what's the solution to help your daughter be more forgiving of herself? Okay, step one is you have to have a discussion about what she expects of herself. Does she expect to make zero mistakes? Does she expect to play perfectly out there? If she does, then she's going to be judging every single play. And so you want to get her out of that judgmental mindset about the last play. If she makes a turnover, it's just a turnover. It doesn't mean it's the end of the world. So often what I tell athletes is, hey, save the judgment for the game film. Save the judgment for after the game. If you don't have game film, you need to put that behind you and get to the next play. If she makes a turnover, the objective is to go win the ball back or get into shape or get into position with her teammates. And that's what she needs to focus on. She has to focus on next. But that has to be in conjunction with helping her manage some of those high or strict expectations about her performance. Because what is she judging or criticizing herself based on? Perfect play. In her mind, if she doesn't make a perfect play or do the right thing or make the right decision, then it's a failure. So I always start with our clients on managing those high or strict expectations, and that can alone help with this particular challenge. But the other thing you have to do is get her to focus on the next play. As far as the coach's criticism, you have to absolutely help her come to grips with the fact that coaches trying to help her improve, they may not do it in the best way. If they're yelling, for example, or if they're attacking the player in some way, she has to take the message from the coach and say, he's not attacking me personally. He's trying to give me some feedback. What's the usable feedback? What can your daughter use that's going to help her that she can focus on for the rest of the practice or the rest of the game, for example. Athletes get too wrapped around the axle about the feedback that called constructive criticism, or maybe when coaches are yelling, they get too upset about that and take it too personally. And then because they're perfectionists and they tend to criticize themselves, and then it's like adding fuel to the fire when a coach will jump in with a constructive criticism. Now, the Positive Coaching Alliance suggests for every correction, there's 5 or 6 positive reinforcement comments. And most coaches aren't doing that. Maybe 1 positive reinforcement for 6 corrections, right? So keep that in mind too, that somewhat it can be how the coach is communicating the message and how much positive reinforcement that they give to the athlete as well. All right, I hope that was helpful. If you want help with your perfectionist athlete that tends to be too self-critical and hard on herself, jump over to peaksports.com and check out our mental game coaching programs there. And you can also check out Soccer Confidence 2.0, our new audio and workbook program specifically for competitive soccer players 12 years and up. And you can also read more articles, watch more videos, and please subscribe to our podcast at Spotify, iTunes, or your favorite podcasting platform. That's the Sports Psychology Podcast. Thanks for watching.